Cari amici sportivi, welcome to another edition of Red Card Weekly, here where we mostly speak about Serie A, a bit of European, a bit of international. And yes, well, we're not professionals, nor do we pretend to be. I'd like to firstly introduce to my left, Francis. I'm only going to be talking about La Tripletta, Colo Giacomo, because that's the only thing you got left to talk about.
Living in the past, yeah.
Living in the past. I have to my right, Steve. Nothing better than to see Mario Balotelli, but even better when Nobello Piatti I Cavatelli. Polillo. And I am Vince. I always got to listen to this guy about all these conspiracies. Hey, nobody said these wins had to be pretty. Toughness. Welcome, guys, to yet another show. I'd like to first just explain a couple of things to all the new viewers. We don't call it Red Card Weekly for no reason. At the end of the show, we do give out, all three of us, our Red Card of the Week, something that we didn't appreciate or we think is pretty ridiculous from the world of soccer. And before we do start, I'd like to thank Frank D., our anonymous donor, for we have a mic stand now. We have a mic stand, our first official sponsor. So thank you very much,
We're
Frank
moving up. We're moving
D.
up.
All right, so Francis, where are we starting?
Obviously, we're going to start the game with Inter Juve. Juve wins 2-1 at the San Siro. And how convenient does the Cambiasso incident on Giovinco happen to be? Because it totally distracts the old non-call penalty shot when Chiellini tripped Cassano. And now I'm like going a little rant because all the Juventinis went on, what a dirty foul from Cambiasso! Oh my God! He's a backstabber! He's dirty! No class! Guys, this was the first red card that Cambiasso ever had in Serie A. Yes, it was a dirty foul. It warranted a red card. I don't think he did on purpose. He's not that type of player. If it would have been Samuel or Gargano, I would have said, yes, these guys are dirty enough to do it. Cambiasso, no. And just to finish, it's so hypocritical from all you Juventini to talk about dirty when you have the biggest criminal of all time in Serie A, Montero. That's all I have to say.
So, are you good now?
Yeah, I'm good. You guys could talk.
So, yes, we watched the game this morning. It wasn't the prettiest of games, Steve.
But still a good game.
Still a good game. Yes, we'll talk about the Cassano. Rewatched it a couple of times. To me, yes, it is a penalty. But I will add this. I believe, if you guys recall the Handanovic with Vidal, Handanovic on that play does not go anywhere near the ball, definitely tries to stop Vidal. So for me, it kind of balances out. But I will say this. I don't believe, I believe a tie would have been the more proper result here in this game. But not taking anything away from the game. It was very fierce, aggressive, but not Juve at their best and far from having Inter at their best.
Well,
Ricky Alvarez?
No. Inter, this is the best Inter could do with what they have. Okay, that's perfect.
Okay.
Okay, it's the best they could do with what they have.
Yeah, we have no weapons.
But Stramaccioni decides not to start Cambiasso.
Cambiasso, Guarin, but now, do we know the background stories? Do you know why they didn't start? Guarin missed his plane. Okay. Cambiasso, was he injured? He wasn't sure, 100% fit?
Okay, Guarin misses his plane. This is the way I was telling him before. If Guarin can play 45 minutes the second half, why didn't you start him in the first half to bring out some speed, maybe take a lead, and then go sit him down?
No, because we're desperate, because Ricky Alvarez is not supposed to have a no-show like this. This guy had fresh legs, he didn't travel anywhere, he was well-rested. No, I bash him all the time because he's horrible defensively. Today, he was playing behind the strikers. He didn't even have the legs to support Palastro and Cassano when they would beat their man to make a pullback. This guy was nowhere to be seen.
No.
This guy has to go. That's it. That was his last chance. I'm convinced today was his last chance.
That's it? It's over?
It's over.
Ricky Alvarez, Steve?
Ricky Alvarez brings nothing good to the table and never has brought anything good to the table. But guys, let's not take away from Juventus. Today they showed that they are by far the superior team in Serie A again. The 3-minute strike by Quagliarella did not help Inter.
It was fantastic.
What a strike.
Quagliarella.
Typical Quagliarella.
Yes.
You don't see him for a month and all of a sudden he scores one of those crazy goals. That's a Quagliarella goal.
With all the games that Juve played and still has to play, it's another ugly win, and it happens to come against one of the bigger teams in Italy, Inter, who we know that are a little bit on the downfall now. A little bit, they're a lot on the downfall. But if I were an Interista, and please, don't get me wrong, I'm far from an Interista.
He's going to forgive you.
I would get all the Interista clubs. We have a couple that follow us now on Twitter, and I will suggest something. get all your little groups together and put 25 or 35 cents each and collect money to buy out Ricky Alvarez's contract. Because Inter, throughout their history, has signed some bad players.
Indeed.
But by far, Ricky Alvarez is the worst player.
Well, today I think we have two of the worst signings of all time this year. Pereira and Alvarez.
I wouldn't even take him for the impact. That's how bad.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. He came off second half. We saw a different Inter side, and even Kovac in the second half showed the potential the player could be. He was actually attacking space in front of him, and Juve looked to be a bit troubled by it. Juventus does not like it when the opposition dictates the pace of the game.
And I truly believe, maybe it's a formation thing, but if Milito wasn't hurt and he was there as the lone striker, I think it would have been a completely different game. I don't know if it's maybe Inter not being able to adapt, and it's a shame. But I don't know, like even Cassano, like he had a great moments, a great ball control from Palacio on that goal. But in the end, Juve got it done. Juve got it done.
And that's what top teams do.
And let's give our Inter's cousins a little bit of thing, which is probably, let's say, evenly the best signing of the year. Palacio has saved Inter quite a bit of times, and today he actually played very well.
And Cassano too, because he was the best player on the field.
We give Palacio a hard time, but Palacio keeps on scoring.
No, he does. He's a great.
And with a healthy Milito, I think it's a different Inter and a different game. But unfortunately, injuries are part of the game, and this is what you're gonna get. Plus, it's Easter, and I know everybody was thinking about the Panza. That's what happens.
Never.
Just want to finish. Conte, if you want to be a ref, I'm sure they're looking for people, because this guy was trying to dictate the game. At least 3-4 calls were changed because Conte bitched.
Yeah, that I don't get. Like, how does he get to go all the way to the linesman, stuff like that? It's not something against Conte himself, but if he's going to do it, you should let everybody else do it and not penalize the ones that do
No,
it.
why would we do that? Then the coach of Atalanta, he would not be get kicked out every second game. And Serse Cosmi, if he saw that game today, he probably punched his TV.
Yeah.
Because he got sent off at least 17 times for leaving his technical error.
Guys, elsewhere, Milan wins again.
Not pretty.
Not pretty.
Not pretty.
And Balotelli had a big impact again on this game. He's become the key to this team.
Yeah, and I love seeing this from Balotelli, how he's matured and he's taking the team on his shoulders. But I try to always look at the flip side of the coin, where yes, if he does get hurt, does our game plan change, stuff like that. So you always got to think about that, because you know what, whether some calls were 50-50 fouls on him, but you guys saw how many times he got fouled during the game, and that's kind of his job. Guys are trying to talk, and even on the red card for Chievo, the guy's not even he knows, right? He knows. And even on the free kick, even though Francis with his conspiracy theories.
It's not like conspiracy. Okay, it was a foul, but it was totally behind the play. I mean, what gets me mad, it's fine, it was a free kick, it was behind the play. Who called that foul? The goal line.
But if the referee and the fifth is looking the other way, he needs to call it.
The linesman can call it. All year, none of these guys ever have made a call.
No,
they've been useless. We all agree that.
No side ref has ever called anything for Inter, and that's why he's so frustrated, because he hasn't had a penalty shot in 19 games, and he's taking it out on Balotelli. Is that what it is?
I'm just saying, it was a bit awkward.
Okay.
But that's a big problem in Serie A. Serie A was the first of the top leagues to introduce this goal line judge, and we were all at the beginning of the year when they said that yes, we're going to go with these goal line judges. We were excited. We're like, okay, it's another set of eyes. The phantom goals might not get called, but now they got to decide whether these guys can actually make an impact on the game or not.
Yeah, do they have authority or not?
They come in the same pot as the fourth official, because no one knows what the fourth official does. He does the changes,
the time.
He tells the coaches to stay in their technical area, except for Conte. But other than that, we don't know what the fourth official does. So Serie A has to make a decision. Can they make a call? Yes or no? And then everybody's on the same playing field. The Milan game today. It was the worst pitch I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my God.
Which actually played a little bit into Milan's favor, because they had most of the ball. And yes, Balotelli, for the first time in his career, has service where he is involved in almost every play.
In every play.
In every play.
Guys, he's big, he has speed, he has skills. that's the worst possible combination for a defender to play against.
Yeah, and having a guy like El Shaarawy, I don't know if you guys watched the whole game, his ball work, his control, and what's great is that I believe, because if you guys pay attention, Balotelli sometimes would have 3-4 guys on him, and it's just giving all that space to El Shaarawy. And, you know, giving space to a guy like El Shaarawy is a fantastic thing. We're not talking about a guy like, you know, Robinho or Niang. El Shaarawy is an impact player, and he can make that.
I don't think El Shaarawy gets all the credit he deserves, because there's a lot of work off the ball that he does that goes unnoticed.
So, but maybe this whole Balotelli thing is a good thing. So less pressure on El Shaarawy, because you know what, the guy just turned 20 years old. Steve, how many goals does he have? And he was carrying the team on his. So maybe it is a thing of fatigue, like he was saying. He's playing all these games in a Nacionals, but I believe that Balotelli, El Shaarawy for Milan, maybe not next year, maybe the year after. That's our tandem right there.
Guys, elsewhere, Fiorentina loses to an empty Cagliari stadium. Valero wasn't playing.
There were fans outside.
There were fans outside, yes. Valero wasn't playing, and it seems, because he was suspended, it seems as soon as one of their top 3-4 midfielders is not playing, they get in trouble.
And who got hurt?
Jovetic also got hurt. I don't know how serious it is. Did we get overexcited with Fiorentina? Did we forget that they're not supposed to be there? It's actually a Cinderella story, and now we're calling them third place, but really, they shouldn't be in third place.
They shouldn't, but if you look at the amount of games that they have to play compared to everybody else, they should be fresh enough to be competing for this third place. They have the quality of players.
They do.
Yes, again, it's going to come. You're going to get some injuries. They don't have the depth. But if they were be able to stay healthy and didn't miss Pizarro for X amount of times, I think there would be a difference of at least another 6 points, which would creep them up to that third place. And Montella, let's face it, guys, he's doing it with a very, very thin roster. Now, Jovetic hurt again.
Giuseppe Rossi is still waiting to come
Giuseppe Rossi waiting
soon. Yeah. Pepito.
I'd like to see them as a Fiorentina, a complete Fiorentina, and maybe invest a bit of money and get a little bit deeper, and they're going to be at the same level as Lazio.
A Fiorentina, maybe seeing a Fiorentina that gave Bayern Munich a run for their money
2-3 years ago.
2 years ago or so. But Cagliari at home, and you know, even them pensano la salvezza, but once again, the better team won. We saw a couple of extended highlights, but Fiorentina. We'll see what happens. What do we got, guys? Eight games left to the season.
Something like that, yeah.
We'll see what goes from there.
Elsewhere, Roma, the soap opera of Roma, started again. When we thought everything was fixed, the stories were... Andreazzoli gets Zeman syndrome, and he decides to start Perotta and Taxidis. Leaves Osvaldo and Pjanic on the bench. Roma loses, and what hurts is that Osvaldo and Pjanic came in the second half and they totally changed the game. So what if they would have started the game? Why do Roma coaches put themselves in that situation?
I don't know, but what Andreoli should do is take a look at his back line. Because no matter who was starting in front for Roma, as we were streaming the game, I was just watching a bit of the highlights and also streaming a bit of the game just to see exactly what was going on, because I wanted to make fun of my nephew who likes Roma for some reason. I have no idea why. Totti! Ladies and gentlemen, I have never seen a Serie A team play such a disorganized back line like that. They were all over the place. On the second goal, I've seen De Rossi almost at the corner kick, and he was turning around like he was a chicken without his head. And the ball is right by him, and the ball is not even close to him, doesn't know where to go. There's no marking. Everybody seems to be out of place. Stecklenburg. You can't blame this guy.
No.
The goals were terrible.
Against
the Palermo team, who is by far the worst team in Serie A.
And Miccoli's goal, I don't know if you paid attention, the defenseman, they just gave all the space to Ilicic, directly to
The back four of Roma on that goal were lined up on Stecklenburg's 6-yard box.
Yeah, Bordiso has to go. This guy is over. He has to leave because every game is costing Roma a goal.
But Palermo on the other side too, guys. Palermo, they just can't keep on losing. I think for them it was very important to win. And for Sannino, the coach, not to get fired. So yeah, they kind of saved his job there. But
does that save Palermo's season? You think they could get back and get out of relegation?
I think Palermo, and I believe we discussed it a couple of weeks ago, I think Palermo, what they need is exactly what happened to Sampdoria. Go in Serie B, revamp yourself, and look at Sampdoria now. They just took 1 year in Serie B, and It doesn't look like they're going to get relegated. They got a
Okay,
great
this is
little
where Vince is trying to be very nice. What Palermo need is a new owner. Because with that owner, you're not going to revamp anything. It's just going to be a continuous merry-go-round of coaches that are going to come in and try to implement their style for 1-2 weeks, if they're even lucky. And then they're going to be switched until another guy comes in and tries to implement. How do you want these players
There's
to be
no
comfortable?
consistency, I know.
They're not consistent. They never have a formation. At the beginning of the year, they say it's 4-4-2. But 3 games later, the coach who's going to take that coach who just got fired's place might not want to play 4-4-2.
Want to go to a 3-5-2.
Consistency.
And there you go.
So
If Palermo don't change owner and Zamparini decides to maybe venture into something else, like, I don't know, cleaning or something, where he can get rid of practically anybody he wants, Palermo will go down to Serie B and will stay there for a long time.
And finally, we won't talk about Napoli against Torino. They're playing right now. It's 1-0 at halftime for Napoli.
no, it's 1-1.
1-1.
Yes.
Oy, oy, oy. And Lazio actually, big win today against Catania. Catania is not an easy opponent, but Lazio actually dominated Catania. The 2-1 scoreline does not reflect the game. So Lazio is also in that melting pot. This is a fantastic race for third spot.
I think Serie A has become this in the last 8 weeks, unless of a complete meltdown of Juventus, which I seriously doubt. This is going to be the exciting race for the second and third spot, just like, you know, comparing to the English league with their second to fourth spot, same kind of battle, because we all know Manchester United's won. Once again, if Juventus, you know, I seriously doubt they're going to lose 3 out of the next 8 games, so we'll see how second and third come about.
All right, we'll talk about some international play this week. World Cup qualifiers. Italy played Malta. They won 2-0. But it wasn't an easy game. They came out flat. Italy plays to the level of their opposition. And I think this is an ongoing story. We're all used to
We're
it.
all used to it now.
How can we play Brazil like that, like we played, and then we go play Malta with a population of 17? How do we do that? And guys, yes, we won. But the penalty shot on that Buffon, if you get a referee, because Menzate, that's a red card right there. They hit the crossbar.
He saved the penalty.
He saved the penalty, you know. So there's a lot of things. There's still a lot of things that Prandelli needs to work on, especially our defense. Bonucci, if Chiellini and Barzagli are not there, Bonucci looks good because of Barzagli and Chiellini. Bonucci sucks, guys. I'm sorry. Even today, so come on, stop. No, I can't take Bonucci.
Listen, we don't have another option.
We don't have
He's
another
a solid player.
He's a solid player.
If he sticks to his game, he's a solid player. When he tries to overdo it's a different thing.
He tries to overdo
but we
it,
don't
but
have a better option. Bonucci, maybe a Bona eventually, but he hasn't been tested.
Beckenbauer, Bonucci, I don't know. It's Beckenbauer. But
Guys,
Steve.
I just want to bring up something. Do you think that at the beginning of the year, when we started the Red Card Weekly, do you ever think that we were going to see a Nazionale just of Milan and Juve players?
Never. There was 6 Juve players, 5
Guys,
Milan.
technically I'm a bit disappointed because Cassano should be in the line.
Cassano's not going to be on that lineup until he
Better
starts
than
calling
Giaccherini, because that was another flop. That experience has to be over. Giaccherini has
Giaccherini.
trequartista, it's over.
I agree.
I would have preferred Cassano, but you know that Cassano with his Soldatini kind of comments that he made about Juventus players, and supposedly he doesn't get along with those guys there. So if Cassano changes his mentality, right? And Cassano was in the national team when he was playing for Milan. As soon as he got to Inter, they go, you know what, you're not playing anymore. I don't know.
He's playing well. He deserves a call-up, guys.
If he's got to go back to being more, you know, and I apologize for the stupid comments that he made, because you know what, the Soldatini, Juventus, stuff like that. When it comes to national team, you put all these things aside, because guys, let's be honest, why is he not being called up?
But the door will be open again for Cassano for sure, because Prandelli does like Cassano. It was obvious in the Euro. We made him a very focal point of the actual Euro team. Guys, Cassano, he just needs to be a little bit more consistent, and he will be back on the national team. We will see Cassano back on the
If
national
we
team.
have Cassano as not
Now,
trequartista.
The Giaccherini experiment, that we have to give it all. We have to put it all on Prandelli. I know Giaccherini, we don't underestimate his heart. He's probably a very, very fantastic depth player. But to try him as a trequartista, unfortunately, it's such an important position where he's there to distribute balls.
He has a good work rate.
Yes, but his natural
creative enough.
his natural talent is to recuperate balls.
Yeah.
So you're putting him in a place where he doesn't have to recuperate balls, but has to actually be of service to the attacking players. I don't think that that's an experiment that you want to even try. Maybe look, I'm going to say it, no disrespect to Malta, but as Italy, 4-time World Cup winners, we need to go to Malta and we need to be more clinical.
Yeah.
We need to beat these teams and show them that Italy is for real. But we don't do that. Malta had a math teacher on their team. I don't think that anybody in our nationale even passed math.
And guys, De Rossi did not play, and I think we're slowly starting to realize he's a big piece of that puzzle.
Definitely. But we'll close this one off as Prandelli still has a lot of work. And yes, you know what? The tifoso occasionali that are going to go, me, look at Italy, we're back on track. The real fans like ourselves and you guys watching, you guys know and we know that we still have a lot of things to work on, but always hoping in Forza Azzurri.
Yes. And I just want to talk about some other teams that some big countries are in trouble with these World Cup qualifiers. England tied Montenegro, so it looks like they won't win the group.
Second half,
Portugal.
they fell asleep. Portugal
Barely drew against Israel. They won against Azerbaijan. They're in second place. They're far from Russia. They're tied with Israel in second place. And France lost to Spain. You can't say much. They played a really good game.
It was a
actually.
great round.
Yes, very good.
Ribéry had a lot of great chances, and I really thought that there was probably going to finish 0-0. Really a bad luck on that goal. Lloris, you could have seen on his face, he almost had that one there, but I don't think deserved the loss for France.
Guys, and on international play, a red card to Pogba for those 2 fouls.
Yeah, that was
No, but they were yellow card worthy. I'm sorry.
No,
I think it's because it was Spain and they
Yes,
complain all the
yes.
time.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Because
becoming a running gag now with Spain.
In an international game like that, especially a qualifier, the ref, again, we're going to say it, cannot dictate the outcome of this game.
But was it not your
It was
words?
1-0 for Spain already,
It
but
was
they just
1-0
killed off
already.
He
Right.
France.
can't jump up in the air like that with the foot in the guy's face, and then he tackled
Could have given him a warning.
He's a young
Yes. But guys,
Give
they were
him a
still
warning.
fouls. Okay.
Anyways, but France in the right direction. But my whole point is, now there's going to be the knockout round. One of these big teams is going to go out. They won't
Somebody's gonna
qualify.
go out. And you know what? It's a shame because you're gonna have a team like Portugal, England that's gonna go out, but then we're gonna have like Tahiti and teams like from under like
Yeah, but that's
me,
a
I'm sorry.
step-ladder
No, yeah, I know, but it's still
ruling of
Yeah.
FIFA. He wants to make
It's-
everybody happy. The World Cup has been to places that nobody gives a crap about.
But if you're making us wait 4 years to watch the best tournament in the world, which
wants-
you know what, it's diminished because Champions League for me.
But he
is
wants to
much
spread the popularity of the game
spread the
globally.
popularity.
But one team that I'm worried for is England. England has to be one of the most overrated teams in the world. They're ranked 4th in the world. When's the last time England beat a big team?
But that's FIFA. That's FIFA. You're never gonna.
That's the
understand what
FIFA rankings, like, who everybody on this planet doesn't know how they can tabulate those things.
Didn't they put Brazil 14th or something like that? I think Brazil is actually 14th.
Yeah, but
Spain
Brazil
is
in
in
transition, but they're not 14.
They're not
We agree.
14. Come on, those rankings, they just need to be revamped. It's almost like college football. Just let's get down to it and see. You win the World Cup, you're number 1, and you go in that order. These friendlies and these games that don't mean anything, unfortunately, cannot count to your FIFA ranking. Italy made it to the final of the Euros. We are behind England, and we destroyed England.
Yeah, totally dominated them. But
So, how do you calculate
Just to say, 2006 Italy won the World Cup, and we're ranked 2nd.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Just to say.
On a side note, international, the Pope sanctioned
Yeah.
would like to have a Italy versus Argentina friendly. All parties have accepted. They're just deciding on a date. So the Pope said it was all right.
Will
He
that
gave
big
the
game
okay.
be played in Switzerland again? And no?
The Pope still has to. Maybe it's going to be played at the Vatican. Whatever. Maybe he's going to be the only
Guys,
viewer.
5 minutes left. Your red cards of the week. I'll start with mine because it affected my team this week. All these South American players that miss their flights, how complicated can it be to show up for your flight on time? I mean, you show up 3 hours, not 5 minutes. You're professionals. You probably have an agent that tells you at what time to get up, at what time to go to the airport.
Plane was
to
the problem.
No. Some guys actually missed their plane. That's Cavani, there was a problem with the plane.
Yeah.
Guarin, there wasn't a problem with the plane. He missed his flight. Unacceptable. At this level, it's unacceptable.
You know, that's really
Especially when there's friendlies in the middle of the season, like unfortunately we hate. these South American players have to go all the way to South America. So that's a pretty nasty flight.
Yeah,
To
7
go
8
back
hours
and
flight.
you miss your plane and you come in late, you're not going to be in the line.
Yeah. Oh, un gol del Napoli. Sorry, watching the game here.
2-1 Napoli.
It's MIE with a second goal.
And also,
No.
the Torino goalie saved the penalty shot.
Yes, Gillette.
Gillette.
The best a man can get.
Steve, your red card.
My red card. The Serie A needs to have a standard for all their pitches. Pitches, not bitches. Pitches.
Because that
Okay.
one Berlusconi would take care of.
Yes.
Right away.
The Chievo pitch today was terrible. They're in front of, if I'm not mistaken, it's the Chievo bench. There was a patch of grass that my father, Bonanima, used to put in the backyard after he decided that he didn't want his garden as big as it was. At one point, Montolivo decided to stop on a dime, and his foot got sucked up by not the turf monster, it was the pitch monster. You did not see his shoe anymore. There was no drainage on the field. There was water accumulation everywhere. And this is just an example because it's fresh. There's probably 100 more in Italy that are not. This is Serie A. You need to have pitches.
The whole stadium experience and in Italy has to be revamped.
Yes.
The actual stands, the field, everything around the stadium, everything has to be
The whole
Well,
culture of the
regenerated.
game
It's
has
got
to be
a spur
put up to date.
UEFA talking about banning Napoli from playing at the San Paolo if they qualify for Europe, just to say.
And that's another pitch that's not very
very
enticing
nice,
to play.
Finally, Vince,
My red card goes to this whole fiasco of the IS Arena in Calgary. Galliani coming out and saying something, De Laurentiis. Yeah, Milan, you can play there with a full jammed house. Oh, next week, you know what? No, you're going to play at Porteghuse. Juventus, we're going to play in a neutral stadium. Today, you know what? We're going to let in a bit of fans. And seriously? How many years did this place get built? You guys couldn't figure this out before. I need a permit here, I need a permit. This is why, unfortunately, we love Serie A, but this is why sometimes people perceive us it's a joke.
this is the political
it's a joke.
situation between the owner of the team
Now he's on house arrest.
and the mayor of Cagliari.
Yeah, anyways, it's ridiculous.
Apparently, he built this stadium, and no one knew he was building the stadium from the city of Cagliari. So some people actually woke up one morning and said, "What?
Hey,
What is this?"
So yeah, seriously, fix this up because I really feel bad for Cagliari fans that cannot. I don't know if you guys saw them today. They're outside and they're going crazy. Kudos to them for keeping.
Anyways, guys, that's it for Red Card Weekly this week. We'll have Champions League to talk
Yes.
about next week. Happy Easter to everybody.
Buona Pascha and.